The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Skees, and I'm the Director of Media for TAPS. We're going to get started in just a few minutes, but first I got a couple of housekeeping issues to go through. So this webinar is being recorded, and we're going to make it available on the TAPS YouTube page. You can find that at youtube.com/tapsbiz. We're also going to include a link in the follow-up email that you'll get after this webinar concludes, and we'll be putting the links on our social media channels. So if there are people on your campus who need this information, you'll be able to pass that website or that video link around. So everybody who needs to hear it can hear it. Second, if you have any questions, please use the questions feature in the GoToWebinar interface. We're going to be paying attention to that as we go. If we aren't able to answer your questions as we proceed through our presentation, there's going to be a short Q&A session at the end. And if we still can't get to your question, or if it's something that's just too detailed for us to address appropriately in this forum, please send us an email, info@taps.biz, after the webinar, or call us at the office. Let's see. Last thing, I am working from home today, although some of us are in the office, so please forgive me if you hear my kids screaming in the background. I'm going to try to keep that to a minimum. But in the office, in the TAPS office today, I'm joined by Brian Bunselmeyer, the TAPS Executive Director, and Robert Huckerby, the Director of Compliance. We've also got Will Dixon from the TAPS staff. He's in the office helping us out behind the keyboard today. Before I hand it over to Robert, I've got a quick poll for everybody attending. We'd just like to know who we're talking to, what role you play at your school. So I'm going to launch that real quick and give you 30, 45 seconds or so to answer. Just what's your role? Athletic or fine art director, band director, assistant band director, not a staff member, or something else? Okay, we're at 50% voted. Oh, almost done. Okay, I'm going to close the poll and hand it over to Robert, and we'll get started.
All right, thank you, John. Good afternoon to everyone. Thanks for joining us here. We also are joined by Steve Prudhomme. We don't want to forget Steve. He's here as well. Hello, say hello, Steve.
Good afternoon.
I forgot Steve.
How's it going, John? All right.
Steve's feeling lonely over there. We didn't want to leave him out. Thanks for being here. We're going to share some information today. Hopefully it'll help you as you navigate through the summer and then into the fall, things that are specific and relevant to our marching and field band competitions. So with that, I'll turn it over to Brian. Say hello, Brian, and give us some opening comments.
Just want to welcome you here today. This will kind of conclude where we are in the 1920 school year as we start moving forward to the 2021 school year. We're doing webinars for every one of the fall events to help folks feel a little more comfortable with what our thinking is, and to assure you that if possible, we are going to have the contests that we have had in the past. We understand there may be some different restrictions as we get closer, whatever, and I hate it, but it's kind of the new terminology, whatever our new normal becomes. So just kind of making sure that as we go forward, we're all on the same page. Along that vein, one of the things that comes up are the spring band and orchestra and music, fine art activities. We were not able to do the AllState selections because basically if you performed a class 1 solo and you would have been adjudicated, you would have been eligible. So basically each school has a limit of 5 per either band or orchestra. They must be a junior or senior. And if we're to have performed a class 1 solo, if that qualifies your student and they have a 90 or better, a junior or senior, and they were performing a class 1 solo that was cut short, then you can submit their names for the academic AllState honor. We'll send out an email and have that posted on the band web pages here before the day's end, but just kind of want to get everybody up to date. We've had people ask 90, so do I use last semester's? Do I use this? We did that. You need to use whatever grading scale, whichever grading period, either whether it was January or whether it was March or whether it's now that best helps the kids. So junior, senior, Class 1 solo, GPA of 90 or above. The web information, the link will be posted on the website, and we'll send that back out to you. So we look forward to getting a few more names. That does close on I think it's going to close on the 20th. We had it originally on the 15th, but we've extended that deadline till we got through with these webinars. So if you have students that would be eligible, please nominate them. Basically, the nomination is going to be an affirmation, and they'll be posted on May the 22nd once we move forward. So moving forward, this brings kind of an end to the 1920 school year, and now we're looking at moving forward to the 2021 school year. Robert?
Thank you, Brian. So everybody has questions. What can I do? When can I do it? When can I reopen my campus? Going to let Steve share a little bit. Next thing you're going to see is a big old map of the state of Texas. So Steve, give us some insight on where we are in the process of reopening our campuses.
Well, this is my Texas geography days coming back. But as you know, Texas is a huge state with people with tremendous differences in the areas of whether we have cities, where we have open areas, where the ocean, we're in the mountains, and what our government is and how that operates. And so what Governor Abbott is trying to do is he is trying to put together some different, how do we say, rules in place for everyone as best he can. And for TAPS, this is something we go through every year. And so as things are reopening, we're going to try to do that as smoothly and as fairly as we can do it within the context of what we have. And again, these all have to be within the restrictions that we're under at this point in time.
All right, thank you, Steve. Next slide. This is our disclaimer that we've been posting and giving to everyone as we walk through, trying to give you guidelines of what you can do within our rules, whether it's during the school year or summer, or moving into the fall activities that we're discussing today. We're going to outline how our rules apply to what you would do or what you would plan, but please know those are always subject to whatever restrictions and guidelines are out there that are coming from our governing authorities. So nothing that we say you could or couldn't do at a particular time of year would ever trump or supersede the guidance we're getting from our local, state, and national government. Our governor spoke yesterday and addressed a lot of things as a part of his phase of reopening Texas, and some of that applies to us, some of it doesn't. As we walk through that, if you do have questions, be sure to share those with us. We'll try to get to those. If we happen to miss a question as we're going through here, we have a question and answer session at the end, and we'll try to pick them up at that point. Let's move on to Brian. Share some things with us here.
We're going to take a moment, stop, and just say, as Steve pointed out, Texas is pretty big. Consider it's 254 counties and 270,000 square miles, and major metropolises, and then cities with very limited population. As we go forward, understanding that the COVID-19 effects will be different across the state, we just need to be very leery and wary of that. I think our governor as well, he's leaving it to local discretion where he can. And just so you'll understand, we are a little different as an organization, that we govern both the fine art activities and the athletic activities of our member schools. And as such, the athletics situations right now, to be honest with you, are pretty restrictive on what they can and can't do, though I don't know those necessarily apply to the fine arts from what we can tell. That's very specific in athletics, that they can't use weight rooms and they can't use gyms, but the wording did not address whether you can use a choir hall or a band hall. So I think there's some things that are up for discussion. So as we move forward through the opportunity here, we're going to try to let you know what we think as we've understood it and how the TAPS rules will apply. So one thing that we are moving forward, we struggled mightily last year as we stumbled, was getting teacher and student information into Rank 1. We made that move from Tapster as our database to Rank 1, and based on the way Rank 1 was structured, we had to go through the athletic director. So I know that created a great stumbling block in many ways, that you weren't able to access as fine art directors and band directors as quickly as you normally would have. However, Rank 1 is very important, so fine art directors should have access at this point to add directors and assistant directors for you to open up those profiles so that we can then begin communicating. It's very obvious right now as we look at the back end that we have a lot of folks that had their information in Tapster, or as we kind of limped through with a rank 1 Tapster mix last year, we got more information into Tapster than we did into rank 1. So if you need that assistant, please reach out to our office at info@taps.biz, or our phone number 254-947-9268. Kelly and Rhonda will be glad to help walk you through as best as they can on how to get your folks in, how to get assistant directors and directors so that we can make sure that we're getting as much information out as possible. The same thing is going to apply to student profiles. As students from the current year, 1920, are moved up and promoted. That will be happening over the next few weeks. Each school has been requested to get with rank 1 to do that. So that email probably went to your athletic director to move you forward. But then as we begin moving your 8th grade students into 9th grade and moving any transfer students in. So there's a lot to do in rank 1. If you need help, we encourage you to reach out to us. Info@taps.biz. We'll walk you through as best we can. And then the other side of that is we'll be also forwarding you to rank 1, and they're ready, willing, and waiting as they've redone some of the fine art opportunities. So rank 1 is important. It's how we communicate with you, and it's how we certify your students for the coming year. Robert?
Thank you, Brian. Another important topic for all of our students in TAPS is student health. As you know, we have physical requirements. It certainly applies to all of our athletes, but over the last few years, we've added that requirement to certain parts, not all, but certain parts of our fine arts student. If you're in cheer dance, or if you're in marching and field band, you do have the same medical history and physical requirements as our athletes. Steve, would you address that for a minute?
Yes, you'll be able to once the kid gets their account, make sure the family has the account. You go in through there, there'll be a medical history form they need to fill out. Everyone does a medical history. And then after that, for fall band, you'll be required to have a physical. And the way we're saying it this year is we expect you to have a physical, and we hope it can happen as soon as possible. We know that there is some challenges ahead of you on that. If there's a pre-existing condition that says you need to be approved every year, you had a catastrophic injury the year before, something like that, you'll be required to have that physical in place before you can take the field, and especially before you go out in the heat and do all that. So again, these are 2 different locations now. The medical history form will be done, and then separately, you turn in the physical, which will be uploaded into rank 1. So I think that separation will help.
Go ahead, Brian.
So for the last few years, at least the last 7 years, as we've been working through this with the UIL and other state associations, the question kept coming back. We have athletes going back in the fall, whether it be volleyball or cross country or football, where physicals are required. But the marching band and vicariously our field band and drumline, those things were coming up as they weren't required, but they were recommended. Both the UIL and TAPS moved forward with requiring physicals over the last couple of years. Once again, our struggle moving from Tapster to rank 1 probably made that a little more difficult on you than it needed to. But every student will have a medical history form, and that form is to protect you. That's where they talk about their allergies, they answer health questions about their heart, etc. And if a physical is required, then they're pushed towards that route. The physical exam is to protect the student, the school, you as a director, and us as an organization to make sure everybody's capable of moving forward. As we all know, it gets a little hot in August. Most folks aren't marching in full uniform, but it still gets hot. It can be a very struggle for a physical situation. So along with the UIL and the National Federation, TAPS move forward with requiring this. So it's not something that was taken lightly. It is something that is going to be required. So again, with what Steve said, every student, once their profile is made, will do their medical history. That's for you and your nurse to look at and see if there's any problems that need additional information. Physicals are required as soon as they can get one. We're not going to come out and check everybody's inbox or whatever to see if you have them. But if a student has difficulty, in other words, their insurance can't pay right now, or their doctor's office is closed or whatever, we just ask that you get that physical as soon as possible. And that, again, that's to protect everybody. And then next year, we hope to be back on the new scene where everyone will have all summer to get there. So basically, student history and student medical information are important, and we appreciate your help in gaining that information to protect both you, your school, and our organization.
All right, thanks, Brian. Before we move on to our next topic, just remember, if you have questions about rank 1, about student eligibility, about any of the information we're discussing here, reach out to our office, send us an email, info@taps.biz, and our staff here will be able to assist you and help you. If it's a rank 1 specific question, we certainly can direct you to them, and they're very, very good at helping all of our schools. Next topic is TAPS calendar. Brian, visit a little bit about the things that are coming up that are relevant to our marching and field band audience here today.
So the opportunities are going to exist for the marching and field band, and we really appreciate you joining us today. And for all those who have come to either the marching or field competition, it's grown over the last few years. I think it's an outreach that was sorely needed, and we are very happy that the board, our executive board, saw fit to allow that opportunity for our schools and for our students. As we go forward, a change that happened last year that will continue is schools that want to participate in marching or field band will sign up for instrumental music with their contract. So it's not a separate fee as far as an upfront fee. There will be an entry fee once the event begins. But September 1, if you plan on, even if you don't plan on doing the spring band, if you plan on doing fall band or marching band, you need to have that on your contract. The last day to join up and sign to be a part of the competition will be October 5th. That's going to be on the TAPS calendar. We will release the schedule of performance on October 12th, and the event date is October 19th. So October 19th, we're looking to be back at Waco ISD, center of the state, and we will do our very best to help with our travel. For those of you who worked with Vina over the years, you know she will bend over backwards to really help to see when you can get in and when you can get out. I know that with COVID-19, we know that with money, but we also know with the fears of staying overnight, some schools are not going to feel comfortable for doing that. So it may take a while, but on October the 12th, we'll have as close a schedule for marching and field as we can. We did learn something last year. Mr. Roger Bemis, who is on our TAPS executive board, who helped us out running the marching and field side, we ran quicker than we had anticipated. So Roger is working with Vina. He will also be our director this year to shorten up the times where we can so that we can get you in and out from that competition as soon as possible and still give a good presentation for you. We are going to have the clinics again, so we'll have that time scheduled in as well. So as we look at it, the dates on the calendar, September 1 is when it needs to be on your contract. October 5th is when your eligibility, that's your last day to get your kids and get you entered. The schedule release will be October 12th, and then October 19th, we'll have our competition. Steve, let's talk a little bit about the convention and what we're looking at there. So that our convention is July 9 and 10. Can you bring us up to date on that a little bit?
Yeah, we'll have July 9th and 10th. We'll be having our general sessions and our breakout. July 8th will be the fun day. We'll have a golf tournament and we'll have a reception in the evening, kicking off everything. And so we'll have breakout sessions on every single activity, every single sport. Also, we have put on the website, we are taking applications for speakers. So if people want to apply, right now we have a pretty good group already come in. We'll see which ones will fit into our schedule and be back and forth with that. Also, Vina will be running the lead on that. And again, we expect to have another very good event, and hopefully we'll all be there in person working through that. And if not, it would turn into a virtual event. But right now we feel like we're marching forward and we want to keep the momentum going.
Marching forward. I like that, Steve. All right.
I picked up on that.
Yeah. Hey, we have a question here, Brian. Let me throw this one at you. If we have concert band, but no marching band, are physicals required for concert band only?
Concert band or orchestra are not required to have a physical. If you're only participating in the spring band opportunities or music opportunities, that would be vocal as well. The physical is not required. It's only required of those activities that will begin in the summer and in the early fall. And I think for the most part, the reasoning there between our medical advisory committee and the UIL was that the heat factor and that the practice would go on. So that is not required for spring band only. It would be required if you're in marching, drumline, or fall band. So that's kind of where we are on that page. As well as we think forward there, we're really excited again, and I thank you. I can't thank you enough for those that have participated and hopefully those that you will participate. So, all right, let's move forward.
All right, next topic is TAPS website.
Might be a sore topic. The hamster is turning the wheel a little slow here today, so Will's going to try to get us to the TAPS website. Looks like it came on a little quicker than usual. If you go to taps.biz, that's B-I-Z, click on Fine Arts over on the left-hand side, and then, yeah, the hamster's still spinning it kind of slow. I see the circle moving. But over on that page, you will find the marching and field band tab where we will be continuing to put information. I just encourage you to bookmark that page where it says click on marching and field band. When that landing page loads, make sure you mark it, bookmark it, go back there often. The blog, which are the posts, will be on the right-hand side. Anytime we send an email, anytime we try to send a communication, it will be also uploaded to that side. So as Will scrolls down on the right-hand side underneath, click here to submit a question. You'll see the web blog, which will show the last 2 emails sent. Also, the director's checklist is being updated. It will be located there. The schedules that we mentioned will be posted there as soon as we get them up. For those of you that are planning your performance, the adjudication forms are there for field and marching band. I think in my conversation, and we do apologize that Vina's not here. She had an emergency she had to take care of, so we're standing in her stead. I think the important part is that the judges' scores will determine your overall rank as we go forward. But understanding that on the adjudication forms, they may look similar, but the elements of marching do not apply to field. So if you're going to come and stand and not do a full marching program, we highly encourage you to come be a part of what we're doing. If it's full-blown marching, we're going to go that way. We're going to talk here in a minute, but judging. But again, we're looking forward to the opportunity to go. So you've got your application, you've got your adjudication forms, your judges' bios will be up as soon as we have them. We've got those coming. And again, on the right-hand side over there, after you go under the blog, we have our Twitter page. So as your students are practicing this summer, as you get into doing your performances, if you'll make sure and tag TAPS, John will go over that a little bit later, but TAPS Band is the Twitter symbol for this one. So TAPS Band, make sure we get your pictures and can keep up to date and keep your kids in the limelight and in the spotlight, so to speak. So the website is there for your use. It's there for our use. As you have questions or whatever, make sure you submit them to us and we'll do the very best we can to answer them. If the answer applies to everybody, then you'll see it show up in the blog. So we're going to try to do the best job we can on communicating. We're open to suggestions and whatever help we can give you.
All right, thanks, Brian. As we bounce back to our presentation, Brian, you alluded to some of our fall band activities and procedures. Give us just a quick overview of what options are available for our schools.
So last year we began with fall band. When we started, it was an exhibition only, and it was by ranking. We added the Division I component. Our board of directors thought that was a great opportunity. So, but judges give a score, which will determine your overall rank. But your rating, if you get a Division I, you can have points go towards your band championship, overall band championship, which is awarded in the spring. So both field and marching bands have the opportunity to earn a Division I ranking, and then those points carry forward to the spring overall awards. Our alignment right now is field and marching band. We have just the 2 divisions. However, in speaking with Vina over the last couple of months, we are very open. If the number of entries were to climb, that we could subdivide marching and field based on school size if the possibility existed. So we're not going to make any promises there, but definitely based on our numbers, know that we would look to try to ensure that 6As and 5As would compete against themselves and the lower schools would compete there as well. But we just have to have the participation numbers. Right now, the participation dictates that we have 2 sessions. So again, a Division I ranking, Division I rating gets you points towards your spring scores, and your ranking is based off of the judge's determination. Our judging will be a panel for both the marching and for the field band. They will, it's a 3-person panel. They're going to add together. And I think that's important. The adjudication forms won't change. Vina's made a big point of saying field band has some marching notations on that adjudication form, but they are not required. They're simply there if you want to help transfer from field to marching band. Again, under the judging, the hope is that we will have the opportunity to give a full instructional panel. Bob Vetter, who was our judge last year, who really has helped us with both the fall and the spring band, will be getting our judges. We will have qualified folks that are qualified to judge at the high school level. So we are looking forward to those returning, or a new panel as opportunity presents itself. The other part about that is the clinic, and we believe that's the educational piece. Vina's fought very hard for this with the committees over the years. All performances, both the band, and we're hoping to have a color card critique as well. So if you have a color guard, they will get a separate critique from the band. But the idea behind the educational side is that you've performed and then have the opportunity for someone in the field to be able to say, I watched your performance, and now let me see where we can help everybody grow. So very excited to be able to continue with the critique portion. The clinic portion is extremely beneficial to me on the educational side. So, and the expectations, you can expect them from what I've been a part of, you can expect them to go pretty in depth and give you some opportunities for growth, but also those praises for your praiseworthy activities. So the judges, 3-person panel, they determine your ranking and your rating, and then we will have a separate clinic judge for the band and color guard to make options there available to you as far as what they saw or didn't see. Again, we will also have it live streamed, so you'll also be able to have your video presentation when you get back with the school, et cetera. So, Robert, that's what I've got on clinics and judging.
All right, our next topic is summer practices. We had 2 webinars earlier today, one for football coaches, one for cross-country coaches. A lot of our rules that apply to summer restrictions apply to athletics, not to fine arts. Brian, would you address what our bands can do throughout the summer?
What we pretty well wanted to do here was to explain those differences. So in athletics, they're allowed 15 contact hours per week with each athlete. We have no such fine art requirement. We leave that to local school discretion. Summer practices right now, we're in a virtual situation through May the 31st, beginning June 1st. The virtual could go away if your school so decides and based on the governor's orders. So May 1st, it would appear is the jumping off point as long as Governor Abbott says it's okay. I'm sorry, June 1st, we do as our jumping off point. So until May 31, we're still in a virtual environment, but then we move forward on June 1. Again, we have no limitation overall on any of our fine arts over the summer. And then additionally, Dead Week does not apply to our fine arts. So Dead Week is there to give our athletes that week off before they start the long grind of the fall. If that helps you to use for field and marching band to get your students out there that may be a part of another athletic activity, that's there for you as well. So Dead Week does not apply to fine arts, and the summer practice schedule is local control. I think that's important for everybody to understand.
All right, thanks, Brian. We've had a lot of questions and a lot of people wondering, hey, what's going to happen in the fall? Are we going to get started? What's our plan? What's our schedule? If we get started and have interruptions, what are we thinking about in that respect?
Right now, we're planning on an in-person competition. And as we discussed in the spring, if we have to move the competition to virtual versus COVID, and again, with 254 counties, 270,000 square miles, what's affecting Amarillo may not affect Houston. What's affecting Houston may not affect San Antonio, et cetera. So if your school, because of COVID, is not able to attend, then we would definitely look to include you as well on a virtual situation. We want it to be an in-person, but we may have to go to a COVID situation. We would like for it to be, as close to live as possible, but we are looking for virtual opportunities. If your school is required to shut down and go to virtual, we totally understand that. So basically the way that we understand activities in the fall, just like we did in the spring, if your school is open, then you can have co-curricular and extracurricular in any manner you choose. If you go virtual, that's not a result of COVID, then you would still be able to have them come up and practice as at local discretion allows. But if your school is closed because of a COVID case or a COVID hospitalization, then of course, even your instruction, your curricular and co-curricular instruction would have to be virtual. So we're hoping that COVID does not make a return. If it does, there will be opportunities for you to not only continue your classwork, but also in case you cannot make it to Waco to compete, you would also have that opportunity to be brought into the situation virtually and still be judges.
Okay, Steve, share with us, this is not the first time TAPS has had to deal with disruptions and issues throughout our school year.
Yes, we've had to deal with this for the swine flu. We've had hurricanes, we've had freezing, snow. We've had everything that we've faced over the years, and we've had to address it in different ways. So we have all those tools in the toolbox, kind of ready to take on whatever comes next. The only thing is we're not certain of what will come next. That's the thing. Things are changing, things are evolving, but every bit of information we're able to gather and every bit of time we can take advantage of, we're getting a better and better plan moving forward. So it's kind of like focusing a lens. Hopefully the focus will start to come in, and when we get closer and closer, we'll get a clearer picture.
Thanks, Steve. Brian?
Question came in about Dead Week. The TAPS calendar is posted on the website, taps.biz. Click on the calendar link to the left. Dead Week this year is scheduled from July the 26th through Sunday, August the 2nd. So That's that week, that last week before athletic activities kick off August the 3rd. Another thing that's a question that's come about is, can we have music camps? Can we have band camp? Can we have whatever? Right now, those are going to be between your school and following what Governor Abbott says. So it's a little different on the fine arts side than is what we discussed with your athletic folks earlier today. The athletic situation, from our interpretation, is very direct, especially through June the 1st. And then after that, moving forward, it gets a little bit less clear. As far as the fine arts side, the interpretation is, if your school wants to hold camps on the fine arts side, that's totally at the local school discretion, as long as you follow Governor Abbott's lead.
All right, thanks, Brian. I think our next clip is, I think it's a video.
Before we get to our questions, just as a reminder, we did the rewind over the summer. So on our YouTube channel, Taps Biz, and John can reinforce that here before we leave, both performances, the field and the marching band, the complete shows were shown on our YouTube channel, Taps Biz. We invite you to return again this year. We look forward. If you go to taps.biz, click on Fine Arts. We won't slow you down. Click on marching band, field and marching band, and then up at the top it says rules. If you click there, our rules are included in the general bylaws, or you can go to taps.biz, click on bylaws at the bottom left. That will also take you to the bylaws, and hit Control F and search marching or field band. The rules are shown there. So we're excited to be able to offer the opportunity. We're looking forward to October the 19th to see our performances. And we'll open it up to any questions. And right now, I haven't seen too many that we haven't answered. If we've got a couple, Robert, let's try to get them. Otherwise, we'll be moving forward to the conclusion.
I don't see any other questions at this time. I think we're good unless somebody types one in right quick. I think we've answered all the questions that are out there.
I think it's important that you get make sure your directors and assistant directors are in the Rank 1 database so that we can communicate. Please keep going back to the taps.biz and go to the fall marching field and marching band page to get updated information. If you want to reach out to Vena Direct, feel free. It's Vena, VENA, at taps.biz. You can reach out to all of us at info. We will all see that, info at taps.biz. Or you can give us a call here at the TAPS office, 254-947-9268. So again, we appreciate you joining us here today, and away we'll go, Robert.
All right. Thanks, Brian. John, I think that's all we have.
Okay. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Steve and Will. Again, we're sorry Vena couldn't be with us today. If you think of a question later, like I said, please send us an email, info@taps.biz. A recording of this webinar is going to be made available later this afternoon on our YouTube page. That's youtube.com/tapsbiz. We're also going to put those links on our website and on social media pages. Like Brian was saying earlier, if you are doing anything with your kids over the summer, if you're posting pictures of it, tag us at tapsband or at tapsbiz on Twitter. We'd like to retweet those and kind of show everybody what's going on. And I think that's it. You folks have a good afternoon. We've got tomorrow, we've got webinars for volleyball at 10 o'clock, team tennis at 12 o'clock, and drumline at 2 p.m. Thank you, folks. Have a good day.